Hey, did you know that for women and especially moms or those who are taking care of others, building wealth can feel extremely hard. And it's not because we weren't disciplined or determined. No, it's because the system has quietly been working against us. So today we are going to explain what is stealing your wealth and how you can fix it by just doing one thing. If that sounds good, stay with me and we'll uncover this together. I am Kathy, and welcome to the channel where women grow their wealth, realize their worth, and activate their impact, all without having to burn out to accomplish it. So come exactly as you are, dressed up or dressed down, it doesn't matter, because I believe what's inside you is much more important that what's on the outside. So extend the grace to me as well. I'll end up showing up in a t-shirt and jeans most of the time. No pretense, just conversation with friends, but conversation that will build you up from the inside out. Because the truth is, that's where your real wealth lies. If that sounds good, let's get to today's discussion. Why does it feel so hard to build wealth? That you can work hard, save money for years, but over time, it still feels like you're not getting ahead. Every year, no matter how much you save, something will bleed some of the value out of your hard-earned money. Know what it is? And it happens to everyone. Some of you already know it. It is inflation. So you probably know what that means, but just in case, we're going to define it so that we all are tracking what's going on here. Every year, your dollar loses value. And that means the prices of stuff you need are rising. Therefore, that means if you save a lot of money, as much as you can, because you're working hard to plan for your future, when you keep saving money, unfortunately, you're actually losing purchasing power by holding on to your money. Now, that doesn't mean don't save, but we're trying to help us all understand what's really going on here. And we have a solution. So just hang on with me. Saving money when there is growing inflation is like trying to get taller by standing on a stack of pillows. Ever do that? If you're a kid, you just stack those pillows up, they felt really high, and you're like, wow, I'll be really tall. But then when you stand on them, what happens? You sink. Well, that's what happens to your dollars long term when there's higher inflation, especially. Your money looks like it should be going up and the numbers might go up, but because inflation actually is making everything more expensive, the amount of things you can purchase and buy actually has decreased. So you need more money to buy the exact same things. Just like trying to stand upon pillows and it gets squashed, and so you don't actually get any higher. Maybe that's why you're spending your life working hard, trying your best, but the foundation keeps sinking under you. Does this sound familiar? So now we know what the culprit is, but maybe you already knew about inflation. So what do I do about it? Because can we really stop it? We're all suffering from inflation, but did you know that there is a way to kind of become immune to inflation? Like getting a powerful lifelong vaccine against the effects of inflation. There's a way. And that's what I want to get to today. So before I tell you what the answer is, let me walk you through how I got there. A few years back, I was maybe like you are, trying to be wise with money, plan ahead, and listen to financial advisors who would recommend not just saving, which is the first step, but also investing, which is the next step. So I did that. Maybe you did too. And it made sense because, as they explain it, when we're investing over time, our investments, if they're doing well, they should grow. And the growth rate, if you leave it long enough, should compound, should be greater and greater because you have more to grow over time. So, by their explanation, when we invest, maybe in the stock market or real estate, if it's growing at 4%, 6%, 10%, in a few decades, we would have enough to retire. Is that what they told you too? I know that that's what they told me, and that's what I believed for years. But if you've been investing, even for just a few years, what happened? Unfortunately, it seemed not exactly to work out that way. And maybe that's why you're on this video, and I understand. So we're going to get to what will work instead. Maybe you realized yourself that what you have been told, the things you have been doing, investing, it kind of grew, but not enough to make a difference. And that's exactly where I was. So if that's you, you are exactly right. So me too, I did the work, but I didn't see the promise either. If you're the same, this is the solution that I found. So the problem of doing all the work, getting none of the promises, is what pushed me to finally really sit down and try to find a better way. Because, like you, I wasn't okay with working hard forever only to stay kind of exactly where I was, right? And then that's where I found Bitcoin. Now, if your first thought is, wait, Bitcoin, what? Isn't it risky? I heard it might be a scam. I hear you. I was skeptical too. So I definitely don't blame you for thinking that. But I found out a lot of things by studying it to find out why in the world was it growing if it was supposed to be a scam. So here's what I found after studying for years. I realized that Bitcoin isn't at all what most people think it is. It's actually a better tool for storing value. It's more powerful than stocks. It's simpler to own than real estate. And it's more scarce than gold. And that's why it's growing like a world-class, high-growth tech company, even though it has no CEO. It's a network, one that's open to anybody getting in and getting involved. So, in essence, it takes the best of almost every other asset that we know of. It wraps it into a single investment, but one that's available for anyone to start getting involved with. So you don't have to be rich and you don't have to be a Wall Street insider to start investing. And over time, it's helped people, yes, even busy moms like me, grow wealth without having to hustle any harder. So let me explain. Why is Bitcoin working? Maybe you've wondered that too. So here's what makes it so powerful. Bitcoin, like I had mentioned, is more scarce than even gold. It is a limited supply, so only small amounts are added to the network, to the Bitcoin system. And over time, that amount of new Bitcoin will only get smaller. And even when more and more people want it, there's only a small amount. So that's what causes the price to go up. Simple, low supply, high demand economics. If you're not sure how that works, think about, like, have you ever been in an auction? Think about being in an auction room and it's full of bidders and they all want the same thing. And when they all start bidding on this limited item, where does the price go? Yes, up. And once it hits its max, once Bitcoin hits its maximum, no one will ever be able to print more of it. So, unlike dollars, the government can print more. They inflate the dollar, causing it to lose value every year. That is opposite of Bitcoin having and less new Bitcoin made. That makes Bitcoin deflationary. So remember, dollar has inflation. You lose purchasing power over time when there's inflation, but Bitcoin is deflationary. The purchasing power, therefore, is actually increasing over time. That's why it went from pennies to thousands of dollars. And because of that limited supply, it's grown faster than even the stock market for more than a decade. So it's not a fad, more than a decade, actually almost 16 years now. So some people with financial insight could think of it kind of like this is a long-term savings plan, but it has potential to grow far more than regular savings, even in a bank account, and even more than a traditional retirement fund. Because remember, Bitcoin has beat stocks, bonds, real estate, and interest in a bank account. So here's the best part though. You still don't have to sit and watch charts or pay yearly taxes for Bitcoin. You could simply have a long-term plan and you invest and let it grow over time. You live your life peacefully, no extra to-do list. And you've probably been hearing more and more about Bitcoin lately, right? So even if in the past you heard, oh, it might be a scam, if it really was a scam, would you be hearing about it on finance news, on crypto ads during sporting events, even big name investors, Ray Dalio, Kevin O'Leary, Mark Cuban, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, even they have mentioned the attributes of Bitcoin. They're millionaires, billionaires. And so they might know something about money. Could that be evidence that people, rich people included, are realizing Bitcoin was never a scam and it isn't a fad? So in the beginning, maybe the scam or fad thing got around because people just didn't understand it. And now it's being taken seriously by not just the biggest financial institutions in the world, but also countries, big world governments. And the governments want to hold billions of dollars in Bitcoin. Companies want to hold billions of dollars in Bitcoin. And that's one of the things that makes me a little bit more confident that I could put my little bit of money in something they're trusting Bitcoin to put billions of dollars into. So if you've been curious, maybe even just a little bit skeptical, it would be a smart move to just start paying attention. Notice how often it's being talked about now. Notice who's getting involved, who is starting to be on the Bitcoin team. Because if they're taking it seriously, maybe it's worth considering for your future too. Because if we can believe that multimillionaires maybe got there because they know something about money, and if millionaires are trying to buy Bitcoin to preserve their wealth, could everyday people, maybe like you, maybe like me, also use it to grow and preserve our wealth? So this is what I did. Since I didn't totally understand Bitcoin at first, I started small. I didn't put my life savings into it. I was skeptical too. So a tiny bit. I was a mom of three at the time, three boys, all in preschool. One was out of diapers. So I was busy. There was no way I was going to sit there and be watching charts. I didn't totally understand Bitcoin at the time. So that's why I started small. I didn't have a lot of time. And I didn't have a whole bunch of money to play with at the time. And I was tired of being behind. And that's why I tried it. So after a while, I started working. And I put the time into it to try to understand what Bitcoin actually was. I realized it wasn't just for tech experts and finance bros, it was for people like you and me. It was a way for anybody who took the time to pay attention to find a way out of the inflation system that we're all subject to be a victim of. And that's why I'm talking about Bitcoin now. It's the only way I know out of that kind of rigged finance system where you're losing value, not to anything you did, but because somebody else was fiscally irresponsible with their money. And when they print more, it decreases the value of what you have spent so much time trying to earn and save. To me, that's not fair. So that's why I got into Bitcoin. If you too are tired of trading your time for money and saving the money and still having that value decrease, you want to be able to have something that preserves your effort, the effort of your work. If you're ready to let your money work for you instead of working harder for your money, you are exactly who I created this space for. So if you like information like this, you're starting to open up to ideas of how do I make money work for me so that life doesn't have to be so difficult. Please make sure to subscribe. And if you're ready to learn more, I do have a free training link below if you want. It's a free video to help understand Bitcoin a little bit better. Why is it going up? Why does it work? What can we tell about what's going to happen in the future in finances? So if you want those kinds of answers to your questions, maybe the video would be right for you. It is absolutely free. So I share it because wealth doesn't have to feel hard. I don't want it to feel hard, especially for moms and women who care for so many others. We already spend our time caring for so many other people. We don't have a whole bunch of extra time just to sit around and worry about money. And I get that. So fortunately, now there is a better way. And it starts by knowing how to grow your money. It's like you grow in wisdom over time, and it gets better as you learn. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope this has opened your mind a little bit, like what else is possible? What else is out there? What else might I need to know to grow my wealth? I hope that this video has been informative. Hope to see you in the next one. We'll keep building a life here together that's richer than money. See you in the next video.